Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we got the one, the only Big Tone of the legendary Total Devastation right here, right now, on the line. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I hope everything is going all well for you out in the States during this terrible pandemic.
Oh yeah, man. I'm just keeping the family safe and keeping them out of the way, man.
That's the best way to do it, man. Just got to look after you and yours.
Yeah, I mean, in this time you got to, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully when things die down, people can come together, and fight for a right cause, the right common cause that needs to go down.
And I do want to ask you, Big Tone, what made you decide to get into the music industry initially?
What made me decide to get into the music industry? Man, just actually just falling in love with the music, man. Just like being a kid, a teenager, just falling in love with the Run DMCs, the Houdinis, falling in love with movies like Beat Street and Crush Groove and breaking and Wild Style, stuff like that. I fell in love with the culture, and then later on down the line, guys like Eric B. and Rakim and EDP and Big Daddy Kane, and even on the West Coast, NWA, Too Short. Them guys were like, influence. I mean, you could tell it was like 87 to 88. You could tell a renaissance. It was a change. It was a shift starting to happen, and I wanted to be a part of that renaissance that was about to happen.
And also, as we all know, you were a member of the group Total Devastation. Can you tell us a story behind that formation, and how did you guys actually get together?
Well, we pretty much all grew up in San Francisco, California, the Mission District, and basically we all grew up in the same area, but didn't come to meet each other later. And pretty much music brought us together. My childhood best friend, Eltro, was cousins with my partner Red Eye, my brother Red, and he introduced us, and we formed a friendship before we got into music. So we formed a friendship, realized we both had a love for the music, and with some of our friends around us, they just like, man, you guys need to go ahead and do this. And then we got together with DJ Tough Cut Tim and everything else. That's when we really started to get serious, when Tim came into the group and we started to get serious and start to put that envelope and trying to make our first record.
And speaking of your guys' first record, you guys released your self-titled debut album. Can you tell us a bit more about that album? Because I have to say, Tone, that is one of my absolute favorite records by you guys.
Well actually, that's funny. Before we put out Mini Cloud, we put out a project called In the SF Streets, with a record called Coming Up Hard, Total Devastation, Hoggin' Ain't Easy. We did that independently, probably like in 1990. 3 years later is when we came and did Mini Clouds, and wow, that story, I basically, to tell you the truth, RBL's Bama Weed really influenced me to do Mini Clouds of Smoke. When I heard Bama Weed, it's just because I was hearing the RBL name ring out before I even heard the song, and I heard the song at a house party, and just the reaction that I was seeing people get, it just like a light bulb went off. I'm like, man, we got to do a weed song, but just tell our own story, tell it in our own way, because even before we was talking about smoking weed on records, we was doing it, you know what I'm saying? So we just decided to incorporate it in our music later on. We just like, man, we might as well incorporate what we do more into our music. So that's how that kind of came along.
And I do want to say, you guys are probably one of the best rap groups that that evolved themselves around cannabis, man. Like, why was that actually like a thing that you guys just decided to get into, or did it just kind of happen when you guys are writing those lyrics?
It was organic. I didn't mean to cut you off, brother, but it was organic. When we did Mini Clouds, when I listen to it to this day, it's just Burning in Tone being Burning in Tone. It was just so organic. And even when we went into the whole Legalize It album, we believed in, we're from that hip hop, cloth, and we believe in being fresh and innovative and not sounding like nobody. And we've seen it was a lane. You know, Cypress Hill was doing what they were doing, but we seen it was a lane that wasn't tapped into because we were going to these little hip rallies and these festivals when they were real small. And so we like, man, we got something to tap into that people don't know about. So it was just like, it was organic, and it was just us. Like when we said we played video games and read High Times, that was just us. That's what we were doing. You know, it was just real organic. I mean, we couldn't even fake this shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because we were really into what we were doing. We met Jack Hare a long time ago, and we met a gentleman named Michael M. He was from a hemp organization, and he really started educating us and schooling us on stuff. So, man, we took it to another level, man. We were smart kids. So, you know, we were sponges for information. So we just took all that information and ran with it, brother.
And also, in the year '98, Total Devastation released your guys' second album called Stone Age. I have to ask you, what's the story and inspiration behind that record? And of course, is it still available to actually purchase today?
Yes, it is. I believe you can purchase it on different streaming platforms. You just look up Stone Age. But it was funny, the story behind the Stone Age, a lot of stuff was going on. We got into a lot of stuff because we was on Everest Records with the whole Mini Clouds and Legalize the situation. We got out of that situation with Arista. We kind of got industry blackballed to a degree, and within the group, we kind of had a little turmoil in the middle of the group, where the group kind of went their separate ways. I mean, to this day, you know, we're brothers. You know, we ironed all that stuff out and we worked it out because I love Bernie and Tim, but you know, we kind of had a little separation at the minute, and me and Bernie really felt, you know, without Tim, we had something to prove to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like we had a lot to prove behind Mini Clouds, and actually, the Stone Age is one of my favorite projects because We're the Bomb and Natural Born Hustler is like two of my favorite Total Devastation songs. I love Natural Born Hustler. Like one of my favorite Total Devastation songs of all time. But we got together with Don the Enhancer. He was like a popular Bay Area producer. He worked a lot with my man TC. Just before TC Don really got together working, but we really like got there with Don, and the Bay Area was really cracking at that time. I mean, the industry was really messing with the Bay, and we just like, man, we need to like really just hone in, pay homage to where we from, and just go mess with Donnie Enhancer and just like make some slaps, and that's what we did with the Stone Age, man. It was just really like we felt like we had something to prove, and also with that project, I love that project because we've shown that we grown. I think that's when we start to find our space. So I think we've grown right there at the Stone Age.
And the one thing I do want to ask, is there going to be any other Total Devastation projects coming out anytime soon? Maybe like a reunion or something like that?
Man, I'm glad you asked that. Yeah, actually, we do. We have a project that I'm sitting on right now called The Pioneers. And it's actually, when I started doing this project, I took it on like doing like when an artist does their first project. And I got my brother Red, he's like on 7 or 8 songs, but I got a couple of other features on there. You know, I put it together, you know, quite nice. But yeah, we got Total Devastation Pioneers. And after that, me and Byrne, we talk a lot. So it's open that we might do another project, another album after this one. And you know what I'm saying? And we're talking about maybe going to the mechanics and having the mechanics just produce the whole album. Maybe the mechanics or EHK or somebody just produce the whole album where somebody produces us and we ain't got to sit there because we're like brothers, so, and we fight like brothers, so we need somebody to come in there and produce us, you know.
And I do have to say this there, Tone. That name is absolutely phenomenal. The Pioneers, I like that. You know what I mean? The pioneers of, you know, stoner hip hop, man. I like that. The Pioneers.
And I actually got to give a shout out to Mean Green from Swisher Streets. Mean Green gave us that name. We used to see us that place and like, man, they're going to Pioneer. So I want to shout Mean Green out for giving us that name.
And also, speaking of a name, you also used to go by the stage name Supa Dupa. Can you tell us the reason why you changed it to Big Tone? What made you decide to change it?
That was funny. When the legendary Aaliyah came out with that super duper fly, and she started using that, I was just like, maybe I should change my name. You know what I'm saying? Because she really started using that, and she blew the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, maybe I should change it up a little bit. And everybody by nature, because I was a little bit bigger dude at the time, so everybody by nature was just calling me Big Tone. So I was just using the Big Tone. Then later on, my young dude, Nutcase, he started calling me Big Smoke. You know, he gave me that nickname, so I just started, you know, I got so many aliases, Wesley Newton, all these aliases, but Big Tone Smoke became the name because that's just what everybody was calling me. Everybody was calling me Big Tone, or they was calling me Big Smoke, or, they called me Smoke, so it just stuck, I didn't even give myself the name, it just somebody gave me.
And also, you are the CEO over at Ball and Smoke Music. Can you tell us a bit more about that, and how did that come to be?
Ball and Smoke is myself and my partner, DJ Fireball. Actually, when everything just started going into the streaming and the hard copies and the physicals, everything started changing, and we started going into the streaming era. It's just like, man, we sat down with guys at Empire, told them I wanted to start putting out records again, gave me the distro, the digital distribution, and, we just started taking it from there because, I just want to control my own destiny for one. I don't feel like I'm too old to be signed under anybody, and I feel like I can handle my own, and I just want to control my own destiny, and me and my partner, DJ Fireball, we do everything pretty much in-house. We write, produce our own music. We produce and edit our own videos. We do our own artwork, with a little help from people, here and there. Shout out to my man Fresh Illustrations too, because he did a little work for me. But we just keep it in-house, and and we do it for the love, and there's no egos. It's just out of pure love and passion of what we do. It ain't about trying to make no money or make this. If the money come, the money come. But we do this out of love and the pure passion for this, man.
And also, the good thing about owning your own stuff and doing your own work as well is you don't have to worry about scandalous record companies trying to steal what you worked hard to do, or trying to discredit you, man. So I think, especially this day and age, if you have the resources to actually do everything on your own, it's obviously it's the best route to go. You don't have to answer to anybody but yourself. You're your own boss, and after all, you can't fire yourself.
I know, and it's funny when me and my partner DJ Fireball we talk about maybe dropping a video on this day, and I'm like, well, when we're making an executive decision, we're gonna drop it on this day. We just joke around and do that because we can do whatever we want, and that's the beauty of it. And when the youngsters come to me, my best advice when I tell them, man, do it yourself. You don't need nobody out there. The game is different. These 360 deals ain't no good. Man, do it yourself. Because at the end of the day, one of the biggest mistakes, and I don't regret a lot of things, but one of the biggest mistakes I think we made as a group is when Many Clouds was blowing up independently. We went and signed to a major label. If we would have kept that money, man, we would have been some rich individuals. We were, well off for a little bit, but we would have been rich. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference of owning your own stuff and letting somebody else own your stuff. So it's a big difference. And I was also friends with, Rocky and Joe Cooley. They're legends in the game. And just to see the money they kept off New York and their early stuff, it's just all the money that they kept, all the proceeds, man, they reap the benefits from that. So it's just, I would advise anybody, just keep it independent, and, unless somebody can step up and really take you to the next level, and, it's going to be a fair deal for you.
And before we move off the topic of Ball and Smoke Music, do you currently have anybody signed to that company, or is it just you and your partner?
Actually, I'm just me and my partner, Fireball, but I do have a project with me and IQ from the Hobo Junction called Skill Trade Pros. That will be on Ball and Smoke. And also me and Solo Flex, we have a project called Smokey Tone Fraser, which we're doing together. Solo Flex is producing the whole project, which we're like 4 or 5 songs in. And we're probably going to release that on Ball and Smoke too, because I have the outlet with Empire Records with Gavi. So We just keep it pumping, pretty much. So I do got a couple other projects coming on Ball and Smoke.
And also, I do got to shout out Solo Flex as well, man. A phenomenal individual. He's got me connected with you and a few other individuals, so I got to give him an on-air shout out.
Oh yeah, man. He's a good dude. I love. He's very. He's very. Encouraging. He's. He's a good dude, and man, he's a good dude. I can't say enough about him. He's just like. I just like his energy. He stepped to me a couple years ago, out of the blue. I didn't know him from a can of paint, and we just started talking, and I liked his energy. Then one day we decided, hey man, let's do a project together. So we got that Smoking Tone Fraser album coming, and it's pretty dope. It's on some hip hop shit. It's almost gonna sound throwback. That project is gonna almost sound throwback to a degree. It's just like on some hip hop shit. It's like boom bap. It's on some bars and beats. It's on some boom bap shit.
Oh man, speaking of boom bap shit, when I actually first met Flex, he actually sent me a link to a few of his beats, and I gotta say, there were some pretty mean beats in there, man. They were actually phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an older cat. Of course I love the West Coast stuff, and I love the funk and all that, but I love like DJ Premier type, boom bap type. I've always like just been into that. I just always loved that. But I love guys like ESP, the Mechanics. Dr. Dre is one of my favorite producers of all time. But I just love them hard driven beats because I'm an MC. At the end of the day, I don't even consider myself a rapper. I'm like really like a MC. So I like them driven type beats.
And also, I saw enough on your Facebook a lot about Total Tuesdays with Total Devastation. Can you tell us a bit more about that, and what exactly is Total Tuesday?
Man, we were just effing around one day. Our people got throwback Fridays, throwback Thursdays, and flashback Fridays, and we just did Total Devastation Tuesdays because it just rhymed and sound good. You know what I'm saying? So we just wanted to just put like old pictures out, and we're working on a documentary too. So I just want to put stuff out there and kind of like get people kind of excited about stuff, because when they see old pictures, people hit me like, oh man, I remember that picture, I remember that. So yeah, Total Tuesdays was just just some fun shit. We were just having fun with it.
And when you just brought up the documentary, that's actually the very next question here on my list. I saw on your Facebook posts about the original Kings of Smoke documentary. Can you tell us a bit more about that project, and what can we expect from that?
Oh man, it's for a long time I was wrestling with myself if I wanted to take on and do this project, because a lot of people was coming at me like, man, you guys have to tell you guys' story, because with all this weed stuff coming to fruition, like, we were so ahead of our time. I think our story needs to be told, and I think a lot of younger kids that don't really know our story, I think they'll be blown back at the time when we did legalize it and all the stuff we have to come up against. If we would do legalize it this day and time, it would probably just blend in with everything else. You know what I'm saying? But it stuck out. It got a lot of program directors upset. MTV and BET banned us. They liked our video, but they couldn't play it because we was running around with a big ass joint in the video, and we was promoting legalizing marijuana, and this was in 1993, and it was just so unheard of. So we're pretty much just focusing on that story and just the backstory, how we came up, what we went through with the whole legalizing thing, where we at now, the things we're doing now. I also want to shout out, my brother Aunt Jean, Smoke Session 420. We got the Cannoli, marijuana strain coming. Shout out to Dr. Green Thumb and the cookie store, because we'll have them in those stores. So, I'm doing stuff like that, and I'm just going to be touching on things like that in the documentary, just pretty much the past, present, and the future, man. Just pretty much just touching on that, and just the story, how we, how we came through this. Just a whole industry blackball, just everything we went through, how we just got back on our feet and just came forward, and how we still here.
And also, I saw on your another thing on your Facebook about good old days of hip hop internet radio. Can you tell us a bit more about that? And of course, where can our listeners check out your radio station?
Well, I pumped the brakes on that because I had a couple of things, going on in my personal life, so I had to pump the brakes on that. But I do want to come back and do the good old days of hip hop, like a podcast. I'm very, I was very influenced by Backspin. I think it's called Rock the Bells Radio now. That's on satellite radio. I was very influenced by that, but I wanted to do one that more focused on like kind of guys from our region, because just some of the over stuff, because I got guys from our region like Big Mac and 11-5 and just so many groups that they were probably big in this region, our region of the Bay Area, but just wouldn't probably bigger in other places. And I just wanted to put their music out there and pay homage, just kind of like how Nori does with the Dream Champs. I just kind of want to do a radio show that's kind of like paying homage, kind of like you're doing. I see like you got a lot of the older school groups and just play music, and I got a lot of funny industry backstories. So I just want to share a lot of funny industry backstories on this podcast. So that's pretty much what the good old days of hip hop is about. Just talking about just like the good times, kind of like, I guess it's going to be more of a nostalgic kind of like radio show, making it more nostalgic.
And I gotta ask you, Big Tone, what is next for you? Is there anything I happen to miss during this interview that you actually would like to promote right here, live on the air for our listeners?
Well, I think I covered a couple of things, but to touch on what I was talking about with the Smoke Session 420 and the cannoli, be looking for my two marijuana strands to be coming down the line, which we're gonna do the Total Devastation and the Mini Clouds OG. So be looking out for those two strands, after the cannoli. You know what I'm saying? My boy got to play with the cannoli, so we running with the cannoli. The cannoli kicking in the door, and we coming with the TD and the Mini Clouds OG. And shout out to my man buddy, no name Abstracts too, man. He got the good drinks, man. So I just want to shout my brother out. That's my family right there.
So Big
Tone. I want to shout my Total Devastation family out. My brother Burn Red Eye and DJ Tough Cut Tim, Chris Technique, DJ Fireball, Spit Game Dang, my man Ike, Melly Mill the Monster. I mean, whoever I'm forgetting, man, I apologize. All my family, my loved ones, my fans, I love all y'all.
I do gotta say, Big Tone, this normally what I do at the end for shout outs, if you happen to miss any, you can give some more now if you like, and also your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and your musical journey if they're not already doing so.
Okay, I got a couple of social medias. You can follow me on Total Devastation on Facebook. I got Big Tone Smoke on Facebook. I got Ball and Smoke Records on Facebook that you can follow, and you can follow me on Instagram. That's Big Smoke /FFTD 415. Well, it's 415 FFTD, but it's Big Smoke SFTD. No, Big Smoke 415 FFTD. That's my Instagram. So just check me out, and you can go to our Total Devastation Vivo page, and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I would appreciate that too.
And I want to say, Big Tone, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio 97.7 FM. I gotta say, I've been a fan of your music for quite some time, so it's an absolute honor to be able to welcome you on the radio station, man. I wish you all the best. Hopefully down the road we can make this happen again, and I'm looking forward to your newest projects, especially the one with Solo Flex.
Oh yeah, man, that's coming. We almost in with that. That'll probably come after the Pioneers project. We're probably gonna drop that one. But that's gonna you're gonna like that one. It's on some hip hop shit. You're gonna like that.
Hey, most definitely. Thank you so much, Tone, and most definitely be safe out there during this terrible pandemic.
Oh yeah, man. You keep safe too, man. You and the family keep safe, man. God bless. One love, man.
One love, brother.
Yes, sir.